I think the agenda items are two. I would like not to take much time because other people may be competing with load shedding. I just wanted you to see me. There is my face. I'm then going to switch to switch off my video. Having said that, I would allow Mr. Sakaza to take us through the roll call. Over to you, Mr. Sakaza.
Good morning, Chair, and good morning to all the members and the DM and the department at large. Honorable Chair, we have the following members today. Got yourself, Honorable Dunjwa, Honorable Mzabe, Honorable Makubele, Honorable Zuma, Honorable Bakrem, Honorable Kado, Honorable Mkonto, Honorable Ngobo, Honorable Denner, so far, Chair. I haven't received any apology from the members. From the department, I've got an apology from Mr. Honorable Minister Nwesi, who is in Geneva. That's all I have received, Chair, from the department. And from the support staff, we've got myself, Chair Posia. Chair, and thank you, Chair. And Paul Elwa is here also. And thank you, Chair.
Thank you. DG, your team?
Good morning, Chairperson and the honorable members. From our side, we have, of course, the minister's apology has already been submitted. And we have our deputy minister who's leading the team today. And we have Mr. Motunye Motiba from the Productivity South Africa, the CEO, Ms. Lisa Seftel, Executive Director, Nedlac, Ms. Nobuntu Sibisi, Nedlac, Mr. Sam Rotoba, DDG PES, Mr. Mutumela, Chief of Staff, Mr. Zandi Mweli, Head of DM's Office, Ms. Nozi Pongema, Nedlac, Mr. Tando Wababa, the PLO, and we have Mr. Deboho Tejane, who's the spokesperson of the department. There may be other colleagues from both Productivity South Africa and Nedlac. And I think the respective heads of these two entities will introduce them as they before they do their presentations. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you, DG. Just check if we do any guests. If we do have guests, can they please introduce themselves and inform us? I see we have got the office of the Auditor General. They will also introduce themselves. And Mr. Sakaza, what you haven't done is to introduce Honorable Jacobs, who is part of us today.
Sorry, Chair, yes.
Okay. Are there any guests? Say hi, Ms. Kabelo, to us.
Greetings, Chair. Good morning, Chair. My name is Kabelo Makitla. I'm the Parliamentary Liaison Manager from the Office of the Auditor General. Good morning.
Thank you. Thank you. We have got somebody by the name of Dumisani Ngomal, PCC. Can that person introduce himself, please?
Sorry, Chairperson.
Yes.
Honorable Chairperson, Dumisani Ngumala also comes from Nedlac. He is from the Presidential Climate Commission, and I'll explain it when Nedlac does their presentation. Sorry about that, Chairperson.
Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine. DM, any political overview? briefly so that we were able to take presentations as you are leading the team.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. If you allow me to just quickly greet you and greet you are able to see me on the screen. I've opened my screen and it says here video something. I don't know what it shows. Just 1 second. Yes. So honorable members can see me. I'm here, honorable members, and then I'll if you, with your permission, Chair, switch off my video if you agree.
That's fine.
I want to take this opportunity, thank you, to greet you, Chair, and all honorable members of the Portfolio Committee, and to acknowledge among us our Director General, Mr. Videla Mati, together with the Executive Director of Nedlac, the CEO of PSA, all of senior officials who are present in this session. Ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. The 2023-2024 is the final year of the sixth administration to reflect on what we had planned to achieve for the duration of the term. It is also important, honorable members, to mention for the purpose of this meeting that we will report on the Nedlac revised APP and strat plan and how we have managed to stay afloat under difficult times. These revisions, honorable members, are necessitated by policy decisions and pronouncements such as the establishment of the Presidential Climate Change Commission. Such revisions impact on the financial constraints and sometimes lead to the budget shifts. The Executive Director will share more details in this regard. And honorable members, Productivity SA operates in a very high, tough, challenging, complex socio-economic and labor market landscape. Economic principle that the SMMEs are the cornerstone of everything and development. I'm sure those who study economics and those aspiring economists, such as myself, will agree with me when I say the success of every economy, honorable members, is always based on in a sound economic and evolving plan to implement that. It also requires a great amount of the same policy. In terms of economy. So as a nation, as a program should be an enabler to enterprise development. Hello?
No, there are times that we lose you. I'm sure it's the network.
Oh, my apologies. I was just saying that a stronger and adequate resourced productivity SA will have a positive shift on the current enterprise productivity levels and contribute towards sustainable jobs and economic growth. We will report on to the honorable members on some of the highlights of our achievements during the 2022-23 financial year. And this report will reflect on the competitiveness improvement service program, the business turnaround strategy, and the contribution towards the most recent BRICS Employment Working Group meeting in preparation for the summit on the 24th to 20th of August 2023. And as I close, Chair and honorable members, a single funding source years is just about to be a thing of the past because it is receiving attention through our internal reconfiguration process. And the CEO henceforth share more details in this regard in his presentation. I thank you, honorable members.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much, DM. Mr. Shagaza, I hope you have read the chat. Honorable Makubela is indicating that she is part of the meeting. I don't know whether you may have missed her when you were reading who is in the meeting in terms of the members. But
I've
just to
responded
make
to her, Chair.
Oh,
Yes, I've
okay.
responded to her, Chair. Thanks.
Okay. In as far as our agenda for today, the first presentation we'll be getting from Nedlac. Over to you, Executive Director.
Chairperson, can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see your presentation and your face.
That's great. Okay, thank you, Honourable Chair and members, for this opportunity to present the annual performance plan and budget for 23 and 24. But as I'll explain in the presentation, we've also tabled, or the Minister has tabled in Parliament, a revised strategic plan and a revised annual performance plan for the current financial year. And I'll also cover that in the presentation. So I think the members will be aware that although you meant to only have one strategic plan for 5 years, we've had to revise our trust. Firstly, I think we all know that, after COVID and so on, there were many changes, and we amended our strategic plan with a new theory of change, focusing on more efficiency, effectiveness, and introducing new processes and emphasizing capacity building. And then last year, and the strategic plan that we're now tabling is to incorporate the Presidential Climate Commission as a fourth program from the 1st of October last year. And so that's what I'll be talking to. So then, Honourable Chair, I want to introduce the Presidential Climate Commission. So this is an independent multi-stakeholder body established by the President in December 2020. But while it is multi-stakeholder, as you will see, it has a very similar representation to Nedlac, with government, business, labor, and civil society. It does also include academics and professionals from research and academic institutions. And in fact, the Presidential Climate Commission is one of the resolutions of the Job Summit, particularly focusing on retaining jobs and ensuring a just transition. However, they are also focusing broader than the just transition on ensuring that we reduce emissions and we build a climate resilient economy so that we save the planet for future generations. Then the PCC is very similar in structure to Nedlac in that it has a secretariat which provides support, just like the Nedlac secretariat, and then there are the commissioners, just like in Nedlac, we have the social partners. The secretariat's focus is on research and policy work relating to a just transition, climate mitigation and climate adaptation, and climate financing. All of these are very important issues for us today. Now, why did the PCC come as a program under Nedlac? So when the President did the promulgation for the PCC, a climate change bill was still in the offering, initiated by the Department of DFFE, Forestry, Fisheries and Environment. And that bill, which is now currently in Parliament, provides for a Presidential Climate Commission. But because of the urgency of the issue, the PCC was established and it needed an institutional home to be able to receive budget and so on. And so the PCC, or the Minister Creasy, went to Cabinet, and Cabinet agreed that Nedlac should house the PCC for a period of 2 years until the climate change bill is passed, promulgated, and then the idea is that the Climate Commission will be set up as a Schedule 3A public entity, which is what Nedlac is. And then to give effect now to the fact that funds from DFFE and actually also DPME would move to Nedlac, and 1 or 2 staff members. An MOU was signed, which would give effect to the cabinet decision. Now, what does that, it's actually MOA, sorry, that MOA require of Nedlac? So firstly, we host the funds, both from government, and the PCC also has donor funds. We provide financial management, we procure whatever they need, we provide support for recruitment, human resource support. They are using our offices and our office administration services. And from time to time, we also provide project support. Now, this MOA was signed, I think, in October, and then I think it was in September. And then as a result of that, Treasury appropriated funds in the adjustment budget, which means that's why we have to have a revised APP as well as a revised budget. Now, before I get to the budget, there were then key changes made to our theory of change. And I won't go through a lot of detail, because really it again was just giving us the space to focus on the climate transition. And then we added a 4th program where we added indicators focusing on policy recommendations, the production of scientific knowledge, and increased public awareness and advocacy. Because I think the members will appreciate that there is a lot of behavioral change and socialization that is required for us to embrace a just transition and different behaviors due to the climate crisis. So in this slide, and I'll focus here really on 22-23 because I'll come back to the others, but you can see the significant change to our budget after incorporating the PCC. Before, our budget was almost 60,000, and now our budget is almost 99,000. And you'll see also that it includes donor funding, and in the following years, the donor funding also increases. But I'll come back to the budget later. So then, so it's in this context that I can now present the annual performance plan for 23-24. So really, this is continuity, focusing on the theory of change, improving effectiveness and efficiency, enabling better processes around policy and legislation. And also, as I think the Deputy Minister was alluding to, we have to acknowledge that 23-24 is the last year of this term of office and will reflect a full year of the PCC operations, unlike 22-23, where it's a half a year. So what are indicators? And for those of you who are familiar with our work, really it's continuity. Obviously, we are measured on having an unqualified audit, and this year we want to strive for a clean audit. Ongoing, we've now on our 2nd year and will continue to test stakeholder satisfaction. We want to ensure high levels of facilities management and IT in our offices, and our ongoing focus on training. I think we are becoming, much better on our procurement, and so we believe that 100% of our contracts can be awarded in 2 months. On the governance task team, this will really be the last year of our governance task team. It might even be that the milestones will have all been completed because we are making good progress in the finalization of a new Nedlac bill and constitution. And then in next year, this year we have 2 products. Next year we want to do 1 product, which is going to be really that independent evaluation of the last years of Nedlac's work, the last 5 years of Nedlac's work, in line with the end of term understanding. Then when we come to the heart of our work, which is the dialogues and so on, I think it has been a good innovation where we have these dialogues where we engage without necessarily, doing knowledge management and sharing and building understanding. But it's very important that once you have the dialogue, you want the report to be issued, and we try and issue it, and we've always done it, and we'll continue to make sure it's within 100% within 14 days. We haven't had many agreements, although we are looking at, at agreements in this year and maybe next year. And that the agreements take a long time because there needs negotiations. Our target is 9 months. And then on the processes, which is a lot of our work, in fact, we're often doing better than that because of issues are quite strategic, like the Public Procurement Bill and amendments to the Electricity Regulation Act. But we want to make sure that these policies or these legislation are in and out of Nedlac in no longer than 6 months, but enough time that the social partners can really deliberate and get mandates on these issues. Now, in terms of Section 77 Standing Committee, that's really the socioeconomic disputes. There are less disputes at the moment, mostly because I think, as you saw on Monday, existing notices can be used more than once. But if there is a dispute, we would want the final process to be concluded within 5 days. Now, the last issue, and as you can see, this target is lower, it's at 70%. I think we're improving, but we're still struggling to ensure that, not Nedlac is not struggling, I think that the social partners, organized business and community and labor, to effectively utilize the capacity building interventions that are on offer in Nedlac, but this is work in progress. Then now I'm coming to the program 4, which is the PCC. As I said earlier on, they want to make policy recommendations, advance a just transition. And in the 23-24 year, they are looking to do 2 documents. As I understand, one will focus on energy and the energy transition. Then they also want to produce scientific knowledge documents. This is really to enhance the views of stakeholders in their commission, and they also want to produce 2. And as some of the members of parliament may know, they have a very active program of advocacy and dialogues. They've met with religious leaders. They're meeting on Friday, a big youth dialogue. They have met with the social partners and so on. And what they usually do is that they take a topic like financing or energy and so on, and they have a series of dialogues, and then they will produce 2 consolidated reports on the public dialogues. Then if we can go to the revenue. So if you can look at the revenue figures, as I indicated earlier on, 22-23 is half a year, but it is increased significantly. And then the budget for 23-24 and 24-25, the amount of budget that they receive from the fiscus, from the National Treasury, is stable. There is still, with donor funding, it's not as predictable. So there is still some possibility of shifting with donor funding, but obviously we've got an opportunity to correct that in the outer years. And then on expenditure, as I've indicated before in this forum, majority of our budget is really on salaries, because it's, especially now that we do a lot of work online, it's really people doing the work and facilitating and advocacy and so on. Our goods and services budget is focusing really on, the maintenance of our infrastructure, and in relation to the PCC on the advocacy and outreach work. There is also a consultant budget, both for the PCC and for Nedlac, or should I say, for all programs of Nedlac. And then you can see here on the budget per program, our salary budget is in administration, and in the capacity building funds are equal between the 3 parties. And the PCC has a bigger budget, as I indicated earlier on advocacy and on consultants. Then there is also a special project amount in 22-23. I think I've reported previously on this. As a result of a surplus in previous years, we initiated a project with the CCMA to support them on their COVID disputes and minimum wage enforcement awards. And this money is allocated, is transferred to them in terms of a memorandum of agreement. Chairperson, I hope that I've done justice to the presentation, both on our annual performance report for 23-24, but also explained the need for a revised strategic plan and revised APP for 22 and 23. Thank you.
No, thank you, Edie. Can we then get the next presentation, which is from Productivity SA? I'm moving on the assumption that that's what members would always prefer, that we get all presentations and then questions will then be asked after that. Is that fine, honorable members? Are you okay with that, honorable members?
You are in order, Chair.
Thank you, honorable Mkhonto. Productivity SA.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to honorable members. The Deputy Minister, I noted that she left. The Director General and colleagues from Nedlac, as well as the department. As I present the 23-24 financial year.
Can we see your face and then you switch off the video?
Chairperson, is my face showing?
Hi, there's a picture. There's a picture there with a lady. Oh, there you are. Okay. All right. All right, you can switch off the video.
I was worried when you spoke about lady.
All right. No, you may then switch it off. At least we have seen you. We don't want
Thank you very much. Our presentation for the 2023-24 financial year, Chair, is going to take effect from the point that, as the Deputy Minister has indicated, we are in the final year of the medium-term strategic framework 2019 to 2024, and also the final year of the sixth administration, to the extent that we are trying to, in instances where we have been a bit slow relating to our interventions, we are looking at accelerating our program interventions in the 2023-24 financial year. To the extent that, if you look at slide 3, Chair, everything that we will be doing is within our legislative mandate, particularly the fact that we are responsible for fulfilling an economic or social mandate of government, which is to promote employment growth and productivity. So particularly the service delivery programs are focused on issues around employment, preservation, as well as creation. And whilst on this slide, I think it's important to also highlight that over a period of time, particularly during the medium-term strategic framework 2019 to 2024, we have grown as an entity to the extent that now we are able to address productivity holistically across all sectors and levels. And that's the reason why in this slide we're indicating that we have shifted from a focus on micro or enterprise level towards meso or industry level, as well as the macro and country level. And you'll pick up, particularly when we talk about the key projects that we are involved in, and we'll be focusing on in the 2023-24, that you'll begin to see a reflection on what is it that we do within the sector master plans, as well as the key things that we do around issues of improved competitiveness and sustainability of enterprises, as well as that of the economy. So this is very critical for the committee to note as you will be monitoring our performance in the 2023-24 financial year. And on this slide, just to give you an indication that we have now taken a central role in delivering on the mandate of the department, particularly issues around the employment mandate. And that is why those three key issues, including improved economic efficiency and productivity, creation of decent employment, as well as promoting social dialogue and workplace democratization. So our program, enterprise development and support programs, are intending at responding to these three key areas of the mandate of the department. Chair and committee members, we still believe that it's very critical that in the work that we do, we always align and collaborate with other economic cluster departments as it relates to policy mandates and other programs, particularly the programs that has a bearing on job preservation and creation. And hence we're sharing with the committee that our work is steeped in the National Development Plan, as we reflect in terms of those three chapters, the contribution to the Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan, particularly the issue of industrialization and growing the productive economy, reimagining the industrial strategy and district development model. You will find in the presentation, we're talking, Chair, about the productivity champions, particularly with intent to launch productivity champions at district as well as at metro level, but also the work that we do in respect of the development, industrial development zones, in collaboration with the DTIC. And we have also taken note of other international instruments relating to the Sustainable Development Goals, the Africa Agenda 2063. We have a lot of work that we are doing with the Pan-African Productivity Association in collaboration with AUDA, NEPAD, and also the fact that we fully appreciate the Centenary Declaration for the Future of Work and a number of things that flow from that area. Chair, we have previously indicated on this slide, key to it is that our enterprise development and support programs, that is our service delivery programs, are focused on those three programs to the extent that you'll see that expressed in the annual performance plan. And also to share with the committee that as we close this fifth year of the medium-term strategic framework, our eyes are still focused on emerging enterprises, particularly the fact that we have a high level of informality informal and small enterprises as well as cooperatives. And it is our intention that we intervene decisively in those areas because we believe that they are the backbone of our economy. We will continue supporting sustainable enterprises in terms of our Workplace Challenge program, which is funded by the DTIC, and will also continue supporting distressed enterprises through turnaround strategies in order to return them to profitability, in order to preserve jobs. So this slide, Chair, gives an indication of the scope of our work, and that is why we're saying we provide support to enterprises through the business life cycle when they are at a formative level up to a point where they find that they are going through distress. We are available to provide support to those. The key issue is that we are going to be implementing the 2023-24 financial year plan in a dynamic and challenging environment, Chair, and we have picked up 9 critical socioeconomic and labor market indicators, and these indicators are to a greater extent what you would find in the report that we produce with the Institute of Management Development that measures productivity and competitiveness. And the fact that almost all of them are showing us a red flag, and if we really don't focus our energy on it, we are breeding a national crisis, and that is why we're just for purposes of emphasis, we're giving it a red signal. And key to those, we are emphasizing the issue of low productivity growth, particularly of the industrial SMMEs. There is those SMMEs, including in the manufacturing sector. We're also highlighting the issue of a decline in the contribution of the manufacturing sector to the GDP growth. Further to that, as I indicated, the issue of low competitiveness of South Africa it's high on our agenda, and also the issue of informal small enterprises. So our plans, in a way, are reflective of a situation facing the country, as I indicated, in the 4th year of the 6th administration and 7 years towards 2030 as we implement or contribute towards the National Development Plan. So in a way, Chair, we are saying, when you look at the work that we do, look at it within the context of these 2 slides as we presented before you. Over and above that, as I indicated, we are focused our energies on really making sure that we address productivity holistically. And as I said, we have matured as an entity. In the past, we used to focus more on interventions at enterprise level, but now we're moving to sector as well as national level interventions. This slide was presented before the committee. We're still focused on it because we believe for this economy to grow, 4 pillars are critical for us. It's an integrated training and skills development ecosystem, an integrated enterprise development and support ecosystem, an integrated research and innovation ecosystem, and above all, a national productivity movement. So these 4-legged plan, it's actually saying it cannot be that we intervene in the economy and we don't train and skill, in particular, small enterprises, but over and above that, to work collectively with other entities, including your CEDA and so, to ensure that we create an enterprise development and support ecosystem. And over and above that is ensuring that we provide a productivity and competitiveness related value added information and statistics. And as I indicated, to also promote a stronger culture of productivity and accountability thereof. Chair, in this slide, slide number 12, we're just indicating to the committee that the plans that we're presenting before you are premised on our capability to deliver, in particular, on the service delivery programs. We are highlighting to the committee that in terms of our competitiveness improvement services, the committee should rest assured that by the end of March 2023, we will close the 2022-23 financial year with 100%, if not more, performance in terms of the support that we provide to enterprises. You will notice that we always had a problem, Chair, when it comes to our support to enterprises going through economic distress. We're giving the committee some level of assurance that we're closing the financial year 2022-23 on a positive footing, because as at February, we had already achieved our targets for the 2022-23. So that's a sound footing for planning when we say we will continue supporting enterprises that are going through distress, but this time with an intention on ensuring that we make the necessary impact. And as I indicated, with regard to our playing a role at a macro level or at the national level, we are central to the BRICS discourse, particularly in terms of employment working group, which we are providing technical support there too. So that is also what is going to involve us over the 2023 financial year. For the 2023-24 financial year, again, Chair, it's important that I indicate that our focus is on two priorities. Priority one, a capable, ethical, and developmental state. And here it's more about ensuring that Productivity South Africa is well positioned to contribute to the growth of our economy. And priority number two, economic transformation and job creation. So our plans in terms of the oncoming financial year are premised on those two priorities. I will skip this, Chair, because this is the portion of the strategic plan, and move straight to slide number 18, where we're giving you an indication of our program interventions. And when you talk about strategic objective one of strengthening the institutional capacity of Productivity SA to deliver on its mandate and be financially sustainable, we have identified 4 output indicators. The first one is about ensuring that we pay, in particular, small enterprises that do business with Productivity South Africa within 30 days of receipt of invoice. And we're very deliberate on this, Chair, because if we don't pay, as government, if we don't pay small enterprises within 30 days of receipt of invoice, we actually kill them. And so we have taken this conscious decision and have this as part of our APP. The second one is relating to good governance and regulatory compliance to ensure that we eliminate irregular, fruitless, and wasteful expenditure. And to that extent, we have been doing well over years, but we still have one or two challenges in this area, and we feel that we should actually continue giving attention to this area of our work. The third area, it's about the reduction of external audit outcomes or findings. We are moving towards a clean audit. We have been obtaining an unqualified audit, and the intention is to make sure that we be in the cleaner space. And the fourth one, it's about human capital development, that we should at least ensure that 100% of planned training interventions are commenced by the 31st of March 2024. Regarding the strategic objective 2, this is an area where we're talking about enterprise competitiveness and sustainability with the objective of improving productivity for sustained inclusive economic growth and competitiveness. And we will, through the Competitiveness Improvement Services Program, be able to support over 1,200 small and medium enterprises through competitiveness improvement interventions, and also ensure that we support over 2,400 entrepreneurs, workers, and managers. And this focus, Chair, you would find that it's mostly targeted at the emerging as well as, emerging enterprises. And here we're talking about informal small enterprises as well as cooperatives, precisely because these are intention to create an enabling environment for entrepreneurship and sustainable enterprises. As indicated, we believe that these are drivers for economic growth. Regarding the strategic objective 3, the focus here is on job preservation. The objective being to support enterprises facing economic distress and initiatives aimed at preventing job losses. A question may arise, Chair, in the midst of many companies going through distress, why do we opt for 71 only? And this is informed by the resources at our disposal. So we're targeting that in the 2023 financial year, 23-24 financial year, we will support 71 companies facing economic distress with the objective of at least saving over 3,500 jobs. But additional to that, in the companies that we interview, the 71, we will establish what we call workplace or future forums. And once those are being established, we will train and capacitate their members on productivity improvement solutions. So we intend to train at least over of those. In regards to strategic objective 4, that's where we're talking about evidence-based planning, monitoring, and evaluation, with the objective of generating and disseminating productivity-related research and statistics. And I want to emphasize, Chair, that we continue producing research reports. For this coming financial year, we're looking at 4. And also in terms of number 11, the indicator number 11, we'll continue producing statistical reports. And this, I want to alert the committee that one of those reports will be produced in June. It's on the competitiveness measurement, what we call the competitiveness yearbook. We will avail that report to the committee so that we can begin some engagement. We all know that South Africa's competitiveness is low, and particularly as compared to other countries. We're looking forward to an improved competitiveness ranking. The second report that will, a statistical report that will produce would be the annual statistics report. We always produce that in the fourth quarter. So I'm highlighting that the committee should know this critical report, which in essence try to give us an indicator. As I said, there are 9 indicators that we have identified, whether we are really interventions, both as an entity and as a country, are shifting the needle. Chair, we also indicated in terms of strategic objective 5 that it is our duty to promote a culture of productivity and accountability thereof, to the extent that for the 2023-24 financial year, we're looking at advocacy and public awareness campaigns, and we have targeted 10 for this financial year, for the current financial year. And you will note that one of the key things, if you look at quarter 3 there, there's a number, the number is higher, to the extent that the intention is particularly targeting October, which is productivity month. And we would just at the onset invite the committee to walk this journey with us as we go on advocacy and public awareness campaigns. And I have also indicated in terms of number 13, the productivity champions, whom we believe that if we could launch a champion across the country in the respective districts as well as the metros, it will go a long way in promoting a public awareness about our programs, but at the same time supporting the economy in terms of productivity and competitiveness improvement. Chair, as I indicated, for the coming year, I just want to highlight 3 projects that we will be focusing on. The one is to support the envisaged Employment Creation Coordinating Committee. The department has started some engagements in terms of the national employment policy to ensure that there's broader coordination of employment creation initiatives, and we believe that we'll be playing a central role in that regard. The second project is the ILO Productivity Ecosystem for Decent Work. We started this project in the 2022-23 financial year, and we are going to continue on the project. And we believe that, as I indicated, South Africa has proposed that the BRICS countries adopt the productivity ecosystem for decent work, and we will be playing a critical role in that regard. And then the third project that I want to share with the committee is the project to position Productivity SA as a center of excellence. In this regard, we are working collaboratively with the Japan International Cooperation Agency, as well as AUDA NEPAD. And we, in essence, when we were approached for this project by JICA, they want to use productivity as a benchmark for other productivity centers in Africa. Currently, we have only 12, and the intention is to increase the number. So we'll be also playing a critical role in this regard. Over and above, Chair, for us to be able to implement those plans that we have put on the table, we have budgeted over 126.5 million rand in terms of revenue, which will come in the form of appropriation by Parliament, 62.9 million. The DTIC continues funding the Workplace Challenge Program, 10.9 million. The Unemployment Insurance Fund will continue funding the turnaround strategies to the amount of 52.1 million. I must indicate, Chair, we're still in negotiation with the Unemployment Insurance Fund to increase this. Once that has been agreed to, this figure will change and will make an adjustment to the APP. And then we also are working hard to generate revenue through consulting services. You can see that we're budgeting to improve that from 17.2 million to over 20.5 million. And in terms of expenditure, the intention is that we will spend all the money that we receive, be it on compensation of employees, 104.6 million, goods and services, 42.4 million. This slide shows just to give an indication of how we allocate the budget per program. That administration, it's 51 million, research, innovation and statistics, 11 million, competitiveness improvement services, 31.8 million, business turnaround and recovery, 52 million, and that total of 147. And then we have gone further to allocate the budget per strategic objective. We have also shared with the committee the strategic risks. What I want to emphasize, what worries me and keep me awake at night is the fact that there is an increasing expectation and demand for our services. And without adequate funding, as well as innovation, whereby we will start providing services online, we may not be able to meet those expectations. So we have elevated this risk, particularly the fact that indeed the expectation it's acceptable, Chair, given the fact that we have high levels of unemployment as well as poverty. So we appreciate that, and we believe that do all that is humanly possible to ensure that we achieve that. I will stop at this, Chair. I think the Deputy Minister has already indicated in terms of conclusions and conclusion and recommendation, the issue of the single source funding model for productivity SA. Thank you, Chair, and committee members for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toby. I will, DG, are there any additions on the two presentations? Is the DG with us? Okay, maybe when they will respond. When there are questions, and the department is expected to respond. Having said that, can I get hands from members? One. For now, it's Honorable Bagram, Honorable Mkonto,
Zuma, Chairperson.
Honorable Zuma. Okay, Honorable Bagram. Honorable Bagram. Honorable Bagram, can you please unmute yourself? Okay, Honorable Mkonto.
Thank you, Chair. Good morning to you, Chair. Honorable members, the Deputy Minister, the DG, and his team. Chair, we, in the first presentation of Nedlac, they talked about the PCC, and I want to check as to how many members constitute the PCC or will constitute the PCC if it's not yet there, because I've been cut by a network. I couldn't follow very well. And I think I also want to know how much is it going to cost the department per annum, their remuneration, the office space and everything. With productivity SA Chair, because we are having a lot of committees coming here, but they are saying about the 71 companies that are facing distress. I want to know how many of them are owned by the youth or women. And to say, Chair, I really support their idea of awareness campaigns, and I wish it will happen and it will yield the desired results. Because as it is, Chair, there is really, to be honest, a culture of a non-performance or poor performance on the part of Productivity SA. Thank you very much, Chair.
Sorry, Chair, can I come in? I've got my device working.
Yes.
Thank you very much. I apologize just now. I just somehow couldn't unmute myself, so I'm sorry about that. My question to Productivity is quite simple. We're spending 100 million Rand and we're not seeing any results at all. Year after year, we keep asking the same questions. Why are we the second worst productivity in the world? Year after year, our productivity goes down. We see no results. I have no problem with having an entity known as Productivity SA in the sense that because we're so bad, and it was pointed out again to us today, and thank you for pointing that out, but because it's so bad, we do need some intervention, but it can't be business as usual, and this is what we're hearing. We're getting a report entirely of business as usual. And if we're doing business as usual, productivity is going to get worse. So maybe we need to do maybe more training and maybe more advertising. But I mean, if you've got even 500 companies that you might be helping, he says 72, but even at 500, that's just a drop in the ocean. There are literally millions of employers in South Africa that their productivity is rock bottom. And somehow I feel that that money is being wasted, badly wasted. And like I pointed out in a previous occasion, we could spend the money quite easily and happily helping out private companies who are running assisted workshops rather. but somehow we never see anywhere. We got wonderful plans, beautiful advice, fantastic presentation, all great. But when it comes to actually being productive, nothing. Thank you. I finished. Hello. Chair, I think you're still muted.
Sorry, I was muted. Are you done? Are you done?
Yeah,
Honorable
I've
Baker?
finished. Thank you. Sorry, Chair, I finished. I don't know what happened to you. Thank you.
Okay. Honorable Zuma, and then Honorable Mdabe. After Honorable Zuma.
Chairperson, good morning, Chairperson, the honorable members, Deputy Minister G, and our guests. To me, it's about the Chairperson. What this effectiveness and efficiency has brought to Nedlac in terms of the impact. I am asking this, Chair, because sometimes words are just thrown to us, which in the end have nothing to show. Two, as much as the presidential climate change is welcome, why did you feel it as a need to put more emphasis or prominence on it in your presentation? Attached to that, what progress have Nedlac made on this Presidential Climate Change Commission? I see you already have the head of this PCCC present in the meeting. Thank you, Chairperson.
I don't know what's happening with my gadget. Honorable Mdabe.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning to you and the honorable members, the Deputy Minister, DG, as well as our Secretariat. Chair, I have two questions. One is in relation to the PCC. Will be set up as a Schedule 3A institution. How is it going to be financially sustainable going forward, if ever it is to be standalone? Take into account that there are other Schedule 3 institutions that are really struggling and finding it tough in the market due to financial constraints. The second question is in relation to slide 10, if my memory serves me well, of Productivity SA. There seem to be more policy development and programs going forward, and the target is of 2030. Now, there isn't much that is being presented in terms of the implementation of the current and existing programs, as well as policies. Understanding that most of the work of the Nedlac is policy formulation, as well as the consultative processes that they do take place there. Now, if other entities within the department are to be continuously developing policies and programs without action plan that is coordinated by the department, take into account, Chair, that this department is a service delivery department. If you look at some of the entities, they have job creation initiatives but there isn't a coordinated, well-oiled machinery that puts in place, firstly, Productivity SA and the other entities that would then implement these job creation initiatives, so that Productivity SA is seen as an entity that promotes productivity within the programs of the department initiatives, but then extend its work and mandate to outside the public sector. A second question to that is in relation to companies that have been in distress as a result of COVID-2, the unrest. Has there been a coordination by the department or its entities to say these are the companies that have been in distress, therefore some have closed down? What initiatives have therefore the department and its entities has collaborated to say this is the information we have at our database? These are the employees or former employees of these companies. Is there a strategy that says, let us then reskill or bring in these workers, put them in a program of entrepreneurship so that they will be in a position, therefore, then to say, this is how we drive these companies and resuscitate them back into the economic activity? Thank you, Chair. I'm done, Chair.
Yeah, thank you, Honorable Mdavi. I don't know what's the problem with my gadget today. It keeps on muting itself. I've got a question for Productivity SA. And this question is influenced by that we, as this department and its ministry has to create an environment which is to produce jobs, prevent jobs, and sustain those that are sustainable. Now, there is an entity, should I say it's a state-owned enterprise, post office. Post office, the only thing that you hear from post office leadership is retrenchment of 6,000 workers. And as an activist, as a citizen and as an activist in this country, I just said 6,000. I don't hear them saying we have engaged, we have had some engagements with entities that are to assist us, at least reduce this number, so that where we are to retrench, we retrench, because it's a situation beyond our control. Now, first, I would like, I've missed that slide where you say there are 17 companies that you have assisted. They are in which sector? Are they in public and private, or they're only in private? If they are in private, which are those? But what as Productivity SA, are there any endeavors that you have made, or any engagement that you have with post office in trying to assist them in not to have that huge number? And if they are to retrench the number that will then be retrenched, will you be able to engage with them to see what is it that can be done to assist those workers in other fields? I hope I haven't confused you. I'm trying to get a better, I'm trying to ask a question in a manner that is then not going to confuse you. The bottom line is, has a productivity SA had any engagement with the leadership of Post Office on this challenge that they are having to retrench 6,000 workers? Thank you.
Chairperson, do you want us to respond?
It's time for response now.
Okay, but do you want Nedlac to go first or Proudly South Africa?
Nedlac, you can start, it's fine.
Okay, thanks, Honourable Chairperson, and thanks to the honourable members for those questions. So let me first respond on the PCC. So the line was a little bit not clear, but in terms of commissioners, there are 9 ministers and 23 other commissioners, but I understand that the new Minister of Electricity will also be invited to be a commissioner from the side of government. When it comes to staff, so there are currently 12 staff paid for from the fiscus, from the money allocated from National Treasury. There's another 3 staff that are funded by donors, and the PCC are hoping that in the next couple of months, their staff complement will extend to 20 staff members. Now, the funding for the staff members outside of the 3 that are funded by donors will be funded by the cost under the cost of expenditure line item to the tune of 18.5 million in this financial year. There is budget for that from the fiscus in the following financial years, which then I think, Honourable Chair, brings me to the question raised by Honourable Ndabe about if the PCC were to become a Schedule 3A entity, would it be financially sustainable? That is an important question, and it is a question that the PCC is currently seized with. If any new organization is required to be set up, new entity, the National Treasury and the DPSA requires them to do a business case and a feasibility study. So that is what they will be doing. Obviously, if government believes that it's a priority, then the money would, and the business case is supported, then the money would of necessity have to come from the fiscus to fund it as a priority. But I'm sure that as Nedlac and the PCC progress on this journey, there will be further reports. And the final institutional form is also dependent on the successful finalization of the climate change bill, which I think is being processed by the portfolio responsible for fishing, forestry, and environment. And then there was a question, I think, raised by, sorry, the other part of the finance question raised by Honourable Mkonto was, are we using Nedlac funds for office accommodation and space and so on? And I would say that we're not, that we have now an integrated budget, and where, you know, the PCC uses our office space and so on, then, you know, their work is funded from their budget. So it is not a drain on the Nedlac budget. We have an integrated budget and an integrated arrangement. Then there is the question, and I'm going to ask also Dumisani Nxumalo to speak a bit and to add about why the focus on the PCC. And I think, as I'd indicated earlier on, in Nedlac, we're fairly stable. Our indicators, as in the Nedlac programs, the historical Nedlac programs are stable. There's continuity. There aren't significant changes in 23-24, but because we are housing the PCC, that is a new thing, which we felt is very important, both the department and Nedlac, myself as an ED, to highlight to this portfolio committee, bearing in mind that you will also have to exercise oversight over the role that the PCC plays as a program in Nedlac going forward. Chairperson, maybe before Dumisani Nxumalo comes in, I just wanted to also comment on the other question of Honorable Mdaba, when he talks about the relationship between policies and implementation. And I'm reminded of the Deputy Minister when she was indicating that this is the last year of this term of office. And obviously, one of the things that in Nedlac we'll be looking at is what has happened to the bills and the policies that have gone through Nedlac. Have they continued into laws and been promulgated, or are they stuck somewhere, so that we can ensure that there is implementation of policies and legislation. Chairperson, I hope it's in order that Dumisani Nxumalo can now also introduce himself and add on to what I've said.
Okay.
Yeah. Good day, honorable members. Good day, Chairperson. And just to say that I'm currently the Finance and Governance Manager in the PCC, but here on an acting capacity as the Chief Operations Officer, delegated by the Executive Director of the PCC Secretariat. I think the Executive Director, Nedlac, has covered the PCC's integration aspects very well. But suffice to say that in the interim, we are working closely with Treasury, particularly as part of the future institutional form of the PCC to, one, define how we're going to be, for instance, be resourced. We've already provided some initial estimates through the President, and that was for the previous or the financial year that we're concluding now. And that has helped us to shape through Nedlac what we should look like in the next 3 years. So we did get an allocation for the next 3 years as part of the ENE allocations. However, to complement some of the shortfall, particularly for the activities that we are seized with as part of our mandate, we are obviously engaging with the various donors, both locally and internationally, to support the work of the Commission, particularly to provide sound recommendations, scientifically based recommendations to government around how we transition as part of our climate response in this country. So that's where we are, Chairperson and honorable members. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Productivity SA. Are you done? Or before that, are you done, Lisa?
I'm done. Thank you, Chairperson.
Okay. Productivity SA.
Thank you, Chair. I'll start with the issues raised by Honorable Bahrain and assure the committee that the investment in Productivity SA towards job preservation as well as creation, it's money well spent. And we're beginning to see the return on this investment, Chair, in the sense that if you look at the number of companies that we have supported just in the 2023-24 financial year, they are showing about 4 things, which one would call the productivity value proposition. One, there is an improvement in the productivity of those companies. Secondly, because their efficiency has improved, we are seeing an improvement in the profits of those companies. And the third thing is the companies that we have assisted, particularly in relation to the Workplace Challenge Program. We're seeing them beginning to create employment. And also, because of the fact that when we intervene in companies, we also train both management as well as workers. So the appreciation by those companies of the fact that the proceeds of productivity should be equitably distributed. We're seeing an improvement in the wages and income of those workers. And we do this sort of analysis on an annual basis. And those companies that participated in our programs, we showcase them mostly during the National Productivity Awards. The stories are telling. I will indicate I do company visits. The latest was in the Western Cape, where you have a number of companies that we intervened in terms of the turnaround strategies. They are back in operation. At least over 90% of the jobs have been preserved, and a number of companies are beginning to also re-employ the workers that were retrenched, and some are also creating employment. I think after the meeting that we had with the portfolio committee in February, we did send a report that gives that picture. If members have not had sight of that, I'm more than prepared to send it again. I would argue that it's not business as usual. And that is why international bodies like the ILO as well are working very closely with us, particularly in terms of the productivity ecosystem for decent work. This is the outcome of a paper that we tabled in 2020, just in the midst of the pandemic, and the ILO worked with us to refine that paper, and subsequently we have been identified as one of the 3 countries, that is South Africa, has been identified as one of the 3 countries that would implement that project. And I think that it's a recognition that it's normal business as usual. You can also see the increase in terms of the provincial departments of economic development and their entities. We are seeing an improvement in their uptake of productivity SA interventions in terms of the enterprises that they are supporting. So we are really beginning to make strides. And that is why in the 2023-24 financial year, we are saying it's important that we should scale our interventions. Discussions are advanced with the Unemployment Insurance Fund and the department to at least increase the numbers of enterprises that we intervene in. Hopefully, once that is being finalized, we'll add over 5,000 additional enterprises to the 3,000 that we're talking about. But maybe the argument should be advanced. Given the challenges that we have, definitely it's not enough. A lot still has to happen. In response to Honorable Mkonto, the bias, our bias in terms of interventions is towards women-owned enterprises as well as youth-owned enterprises. What one has observed just in the 2022-23 financial year, we were able to save over, of the number of jobs that we saved, 2,000 of them were young people who could have been retrenched, and through our interventions were able to save those jobs. Maybe, I think, again, we will continue providing information to the committee so that you are fully conversant with the sectors in which we intervene, as well as the demographics. As I indicated, our interventions are linked to the industrial development zones, which means it is more interventions in what we call industrial SMMEs, or in simple terms, the manufacturing sector or productive sectors of the economy, because we believe that those have a multiplier effect. It's indeed the campaigns to promote a culture of productivity have been increased. In the past, it was more about productivity awards at a regional level, but now in the 2023-24 financial year, the focus is more about real campaigns in order to mobilize South Africa behind the productivity movement. Honorable Mdabe, slide 10, perhaps it could be a misreading. All we are indicating there is that we're not losing focus. Since 2019, we said the agenda is the same, and we reshaped that to talk to beyond COVID towards 2030. So that's a broad framework within which we are planning. It's not about policy per se. The one policy that is being developed by the department is the National Employment Policy. And all of us do everything that we do within that context, to the extent that as we raise the issue of coordination, the Public Employment Services Program has established a committee that in effect coordinate employment creation activities, both within the department as well as in government. So Productivity SA, it's a critical role player in that committee established by Mr. Muratoba's program. So indeed, we will not be talking about policy. Our focus is on implementation. The other issue you raised, it's about whether there is also coordination and collaboration within the department in terms of the support that we provide to distressed companies. The answer is yes. If you look at the work that we do in terms of turnaround strategies, the CCMA is working with us together with the Unemployment Insurance Fund, starting from when we do adjudication of companies that should participate in the turnaround strategies at the level of temporary employee relief scheme, and the companies that have gone through that are then taken through the business turnaround and recovery program. So there's a focused coordination by the three entities, System A, Productivity SA, as well as the UIF, as it relates to this area of work. Chair, you're correct that ours is about creating a conducive environment for entrepreneurship and sustainable enterprises with the objective of job preservation and job creation. The South African Post Office issue chair worried us that much as the committee is worried, and we actually approached them early in January to say it cannot be that when there is a service that can be provided by a government entity, you go on your own and then you retrench over 6,000 workers. The unfortunate thing is, at that point, it was already late. They had already made up their mind, and precisely because there are financial constraints. But then we advised them on 4 things. The first thing is that there is temporary employer-employee relief scheme, which would assist them in cushioning their wage bill, whereby the unemployment insurance fund would support there. So they have approached the unemployment insurance fund for that particular support. The second issue that we advised them on is precisely on the turnaround strategy. They have taken that up. We have set up a project that is working specifically on that. The third, it's also in terms of their operating plans, operating plans. They have agreed to participate in our workplace challenge program so that we improve the competitiveness and sustainability of the post office. And the final thing that we're working with them on, it's what about those workers who are being retrenched? They have a conceptualized a driver owner scheme, and we believe that we can be in a position to support those owners, because they are going to be entrepreneurs. We can be able to support them through the competitiveness improvement services, so that because they are going to be part of the supplier chain of the post office, and we believe that with that form of intervention, we will be able to assist. I must indicate that this approach has been adopted by their board last week, and we will begin to implement in the 2023-24 financial year. Maybe just as another indication, we have also, you notice that there are challenges with the Department of Home Affairs. We've had extensive discussions with them so that we can also assist them in terms of their operations. We've just signed a memorandum of understanding whereby we will be intervening in some of their processing centers. So that's gradually, and it goes to that issue of business as usual. It is no more. We are actually intervening at 2 levels now, in terms of the private sector, where we support enterprises to improve their competitiveness and sustainability, but we're gradually also working with other government departments, particularly the service delivery departments, to improve their efficiency. And we believe that if we do that, that would also enhance the capability of the state to deliver on the services. There are ongoing discussions with the Department of Public Service and Administration in order to support them also in terms of their interventions. We are hopeful that those discussions will bear fruit so that we can also load or include more government departments on our program so that we are able to enhance the capability of the state. Chair, just in respect of the sectors, as I indicated, our focus is on the productive sectors. We've identified about 6 sectors that are that the DTIC is focusing on, and those are the sectors that we are supporting precisely because we understand they have a potential for creating jobs. Thanks, Chair.
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I say there are no more hands. DG, is there anything that you would like to? Is DG around?
I think, yes, I am around, Chairperson. I think both the Executive Director of Nedlac and the CEO of Productivity South Africa covered all the questions. I was going to respond on the issue of post office, but I think Mr. Mutiba has also covered it adequately. Thanks, Chair.
Okay. No, thank you very much. I have I think we in terms of the responses, DJ, I see that the DM has tendered an apology. He has gone to a meeting which the minister was supposed, the economic cluster, the cabinet committee on economic cluster. What would like to impress upon DG is that as Mr. Morotoba have said, that it's not going to be, it's not business as usual anymore. And from time to time ourselves, there will be areas where we'll have an interest and we'll request a detailed information. And therefore, at an appropriate time, we'll make a follow-up on this thing of a post office, because it's quite challenging for the post office itself, for the department, and for South Africans and those people that were providing service delivery in the post office sector. It's quite a challenging situation. And I think as the committee, we can't just, I think also working together with the committee on communications. So thank you very much for that response, in particular around the issue of the post office. And to Nedlac, thank you for empowering us on PCC. We will again also, when we do have time, to really want to be more empowered on it, so that we don't, because what I have observed as a South African a citizen, a person will drop something which will just a dot which will erase everything, or create an impression or a perception that this government is not doing anything, this government is corrupt. I'm not implying that we don't have challenges of corruption. I don't imply that we don't have challenges of implementation. But what I've, in particular, using social media. So thank you very much for empowering us. We'll need more empowerment so that we are then able to respond. Because as members of parliament that are conducting an oversight over departments, we do have a responsibility of of responding and give people inform people so that people don't become confused by negative perceptions that are being thrown all over. So thank you very much for that information. Members, I think we have come to the end of our committee. Just want to say, I hope all of us that will be leaving for Kenya over the weekend have been part of the DECO meeting that was taking us on all the protocols in relation to our meeting, our visit of the study tour. If there is anything or something that a member would like to be more clarified, feel free to interact with the office of the chair and that of Solan, so that we are all in the same wavelength and we understand how we are to conduct ourselves when we are outside of South Africa. Thank you very much, members. We will meet in City Hall at 3 o'clock.
Thank you very much. Travel well to those that are going. Thank you.
Where are my chocolate, Michael?
Thanks,
Are you in
them in Kenya.
You promised me. Don't tell me about Kenya now. You promised me. Now why?
I have promised. I have promised. It's coming. It's coming.
Oh, bye.